Hey everybody, welcome back. Well, we have a lot going on today, to say the least. If you take a look at the SP500, you can see that we're hitting new highs after hours. We're just grinding higher as we look at the futures market. Netflix crushed. You're seeing semis start to move despite what happened with Texas Instruments. We need to talk about Rumble. We're going to be good old-fashioned talking to about stocks, which is kind of rare. We're usually talking about a bunch of econ data. And we got some econ data this week, don't we? We have GDP coming out. We have PCE coming out as well. We can see what's happening right here with the RSI already. But really what we're going to get into is just the indexes, then the sectors, and then stocks. And we're going to kind of go from there. So let's jump right into it here. And thank you for not worrying about the editing, because I'm really just focused on getting this content out ASAP. And I was actually trading after hours pretty aggressively, so I was busy. So apologies for how late this one's coming out. But you can see what's going on up here. And I want to just talk about this particular pattern for a second. So what we want to focus on is you can see how you're all up in this one area. Now, let me expand this and I'll show you what we're looking at, because I think this is really important for people to get this. So everyone's waiting for this drop, but that drop's not coming, right? So we're just going to talk about this so that you understand it. For me, I understand that you want to just see it go higher, right? I want it to go higher too, but we have to kind of look at this bar right here, this one green bar, and why that green bar is so important. That one green bar is important because what you have is you have a pattern that's developing here. And you're saying, well, I just see a bunch of like little dojis and then we're flipping hammers and things like that. I get it. But see this bar right here? This one bar right here is setting you up perfectly. So you can come across right here, and then you have all these up in this area. The one thing that you have to pay attention to is that I always, when we have these breakout bars like we have right here, you want to measure this bar coming across. Now I'm going to put these in tonight right here so that you can see them. I usually don't include these, but if I click over here, I want people to see where I'm getting this. So this is just fib, and I make it a 50. Fib is not a fib level, right? A 50 is not a fib level. Does not matter, but they put it in there, so we're going to use it. So 50% of this, I can't even come down and test 50% of this bar. Now, as what we want to do is focus, that's 17.3 by the way, but what we want to do is focus on that. This is not a Marbuzu white because you do have a wick here, or it would be even more powerful pattern, but you're not even able to get over Friday's bar. You're not even able to close below that bar. That's telling you everything you need to know. And watch this on the ES. Does that look familiar? Do we need to go through the lines again? I mean, you guys get it, right? You can't even close below any of this. You can't even get into that bar. Here, watch when I open this up. And this is a 12, a 22, and a 55. You should use what you're comfortable with. I use SMAs when I look at daily charts. So you can't even get there. And this is really important. Now let's go to this one, right? Even here, here's Monday, here's Friday, this breakout right into that 22, you're kind of just sitting there. I'm blowing this up on purpose. You're kind of just sitting there. You're trying to get over the 22. Then we have to get into the 10-year and look at what's going on there, right? And we're seeing what's happening. We got right to the 55 and we rejected. We're building in there because we've gone from we're going to have 6 rate cuts to we're going to have 3 rate cuts to now people are saying, oh, well, we're going to have any rate cuts, which is just kind of silly. But I think that there's some validity that we got ahead of ourselves, so we're coming back down. And that's what's really playing with the Russell. Eventually, I do think the Russell goes. I think this is a perfect cup, and I think it's a perfect candle. Spend some time on Saturday and watch Saturday's video, because I'm going to really get into the Russell and small caps very, very much and go from there. And I just think that that's very important for us to note and pay attention to. I think it's really important to pay attention to what's going on out there right now, because when you're getting to this 55, you're holding. Watch this. All right, so here's DPST. Say you got to the 55 and you held. I'm going off on a tangent, but why it's on my head, I want to bring this up. Here's KRE and how you're holding it here. So this is definitely something that we're going to want to pay attention to. It's certainly, again, something that I'm paying attention to, and I would suggest that you pay attention to it as well. So this is definitely on my radar, KRE, but let's get back to ES. And let's get back to NQ and look at what's going on here. So we can see these levels. We can see what's going on. Watch this on a 15-minute chart, just on the NQ for a minute. And what we're going to do is just going to go to this plain chart and leave a 55 in there just so you can see it. Get rid of this. I would like to go to a 5-minute because it's going to make it even more glaring what happened. So we used to look at this chart. We're going to follow it on Saturday. I'm not going to do it tonight because I'm going to keep this short because it's coming out late. But what's happening here? What time did they start buying? And again, this kind of stuff's important. And you're like, well, what difference does it make what time they started buying? There are certain people that buy at certain times during the day. I'm going to say that again. There are certain people that buy at certain times during the day. The beginning of the day, it's all retail. That might not be retail in the futures market, but it's always retail that's moving the market. That's why professional traders, most of them, they don't even get involved until around 10:30 after the economic data of that day comes out. And then what do? They watch 11:30 and they watch the bond auction. Then they watch 1 o'clock and they watch how we act at the bond auction. And you can see exactly what happened here. 1 o'clock on the bond auction forms a line, and then what do? Break out. What you always want to do is you want to watch 2:30, besides that being a dentist's favorite time of day. The last hour of trading is always heavily more institution. Why? They don't want you to know what they're doing. They don't want you to look at the average daily volume scans and know what they're doing so that you know where to place your bets. That's not what they want. They're not your friends. Goldman, JP Morgan, all the hedge funds, they're not your buddies, despite what they tell you. So they come in here and they want to hide what they're doing, right? And that's what they do. So always towards the end of the day, it is institutions. In the beginning, it is retail. So let's take a look at this, and we'll go through smart money, dumb money, either tomorrow or Saturday. It's kind of fascinating what's going on there right now, but I want you to get this concept for a reason. What's happening? Retail's dumping. Institutions are buying at the end of the day. All right. Retail's dumping. Institutions are buying at the end of the day. You might want to pay attention to that. Now, why is this pertinent to us? This is pertinent to us because people are looking at the NASDAQ and saying, you can't go any higher. You can't go any higher. Too high. It's like hitting a ball out of the park. You're going too high. There's no such thing. It might be too high for you. You might be predicting a correction, but institutional money is not predicting a correction. A matter of fact, what institutional money is doing is buying at the end of the day. And that's the reason why you're seeing some of these names move. Take a look at SMCI, right? This is the kind of stuff you're seeing already. You're up $13, $14 after hours. This is kind of fascinating to me. Going off another tangent. This is kind of fascinating to me because, well, one, we have stock and option positions on, but obviously I'm happy. But what's interesting about this, I'm pointing at the screen, and that's not going to do anything for you, but that's the Italian in me. I'm pointing at the screen right now. I apologize. So why this is fascinating is you had this doji, and this doji could have gone one of two ways, right? You could have just stayed here. You could have broken out the low and then rolled right back down. What did it do? Closed at an all-time high. So let's just talk about this. You broke out and you closed at an all-time high. What day did you break out, right? You broke out on Friday. Remember when we just did the bar thing? Okay, let's just mark that on a 50% bar. You couldn't even get 50% of the people in here to sell. Okay, they couldn't even sell. Look at this after hours. Look what's going on here, all right? And you're going to predict the high. I'm going to save you a lot of time and give you 20 years of experience, 20 plus years of experience. Stop telling the market that it's too high or that a stock's too high. Okay, set up a process that allows you to get in a trade and out of a trade if you're right or wrong. Do that over and over again. See if that process makes you money. If not, change the process. All right. Stop telling the market what it's going to do. The market does not know that you exist. The market does not overreact or underreact. It reacts. You just might not like the reaction, and you might come up with a reason why it's done that. I'll give you something that was a complete overreaction today. It doesn't matter. I still lost money on it. If I have time, I will go over that. But I mean, it's a great example of it. But so we're seeing this happen after hours, and this is the kind of thing that I'm talking about. ASML comes out this evening, and what are we doing? We're pushing higher. Well, why are you up $10 or what are we up now? Yep, you're up $10 before you even came out with earnings. All right. So that's kind of interesting. There's three specific stocks that I want to go over with their earnings reports or news, including Rumble, because I think the news on Rumble is pretty interesting. And I think they're going to get people there. I want to be real clear about that. I do think that you're going to want to start looking at this a little bit closer when you read this news. It's a new revenue stream for them. And I do think it's going to be a profitable revenue stream for them. And I do think that people are going to want to be involved in this revenue stream. So I'll leave it at that, but it's definitely something that I have a position in. They've been buying this for the past 2 days in the room. They've done quite well with it, clearly. But I think that more people are going to look at this, and I think more people are going to get involved with this name. But that's neither here nor there. We'll get to that. So what I want to do now is just reiterate this. It all started with this. Stop telling the market what it's going to do. Develop a process and go from there. Right? Utilize your process, see if your process is working or it's not working. Okay. I'll give you a great one. So I'll do it now while I'm thinking about it. So this is a trade that I did today and it did not work. Okay. This drop is 3 ATR, meaning it dropped 3 times its average range today. Hasn't done this for 2.5 years. I have 2 options. And now I'll show you exactly what I did with it, just so you can say it. And let me just get to this. I'll pop this on a 5 because it'll be cleaner and how obviously dead wrong I was. I felt that we would at least get a gap fill. I didn't think DHI was that bad, especially after hitting a new high yesterday, and we just didn't get it. Now, in here somewhere, I think it was like 110 and change, and then it breaks down here, and that was it. Okay, I held a runner because I want to build a position in it, so like I held like 20% of it, but the point being that when this happens, I have a process. right? 20% of this trade's not even going to register on my like P&L. It's going to be basis points, but like hundreds of basis points. But like the point I'm getting at here is when something like this happens, you have to honor it, right? Because what if I just say they're wrong? Oh, they're wrong. The market's wrong. And I left the position on all, right? It's a disaster. Okay. This way, what I did, I wanted to keep a runner so that I just remember it. This way, I honored the process. Or I could tell the market that it's wrong. One way made me money today. The other way didn't. If I'm sitting there all day with this position telling the market it's wrong, well, then I'm not doing other trades, right? So like when you do that, you have to think about it from this standpoint. And this, I am going off on a tangent. I really don't care because this is really important. So like, here's a great example. I wouldn't have bought this today. So if I have all my energy focused on something that's hurting me, you're not going to have your energy going to the right spot where you're looking for the next trade. So we knew that this trade was way overdone, right? We all know that this trade was way overdone. This thing should not be trading at decade lows based upon what's going on. It just shouldn't be. So we know that the breaks here, you know that this usually takes 3 to 5 days to sort itself out, and we're watching these levels. And then out of nowhere, you just see this volume and hits one of your scans, and it just starts breaking out. You're like, okay, well, that's probably going to continue to push, right? So watch this. So for time's sake, I'm just going to leave this all up, and you can do what you want with it. But here's some of the trades that we did. But the one I want to focus on, I actually had it nailed to a long-term account or a swing trade account today. But here's what I want you to focus on, this IRBT trade. So this is something that we bought at 18 with a 30-cent loss, right? So if you have limited capital and you look at how this is moving, when this did what it did, we got involved with it. And you're not going to be able to do that if all your capital's in a trade that's going down. Now, that move allowed us to do a couple other things. I'm not going to show you all of them, but we bought the 450s at 11 today. We bought stock there today. I'm down to about 20% of that normal trade. And then at the end of the day, we already have AVGO stock and options. We just did a trade overnight. Now, am I doing this if I'm sitting there looking at something that's not working? Right? So people don't understand this about losing trades. And I want to get this out because I do think that this is important. We were able to pull $1.75 out of something like this on a percentage basis with the size of this position versus something like now. It covered the trade. It wasn't even a question of what was the better decision, right? And people don't understand the amount of energy that this takes to be in a losing trade as you sit there and you stare at it all day, waiting for it to come back, saying that the market doesn't understand. It's toxic, and I could spend so much time on it, but you're not even thinking about the energy that trade's taking up, right? That you're so focused on a losing trade, and that's not why you're trading, right? There's a mentality to it. I could spend more time on this, but I really want to hammer that point home. Dude, I think you gap fill. I think you have a shot at it. I do. So this is something, again, that I would be paying attention to, but tonight, what I would suggest is there are 3 names that I would focus on. We're going to get to it in a minute. I did go off on a tangent there, but I do want to focus on the sectors and just show you where the money's going so that you can see it as well, because I think that's really important. And what we'll do is we'll do the same thing we did yesterday, where we just started with these 3 sectors. And I think that this is a really important way to look at it. And I appreciate being able to leave these videos unedited and get them out. The content's good. I think it's good. So I guess people just put up with the, not flashy content as long as they can learn something, right? So let's go to the 23rd and just see what's going on there. Okay, so here's the 23rd. Now, if I was to tell you that gold was leading and semiconductors were leading, you probably wouldn't think that, right? Gold, semiconductors, and tech. FYI, Microsoft's at 400. Doing these snapshots are an excellent thing to do. An excellent thing to do. I'm going to show you an exercise that you can do that I did today. And if I have time, I'll clip it out and show you how I did it. But today, I thought one stock was outperforming. I was able to figure out real quick that I was wrong and that this other stock in the same sector was outperforming, and then move it and utilize that. I'll show you that. But this tells you right now, we're going into gold, we're going into the stocks, we're going to XLK, IGV's in here twice, extended tech, right? Then you're seeing Meta move, Google, right? You get it? These are internet. So you get what's moving, right? And this tells you everything. And then you can just see that, shocker, solar's a dumpster fire. But this is really important. And then for time's sake, we'll do it this way. And what we'll do is we'll just go to the sectors. And what we'll do is we won't do the 20, we'll just do the 10. So there's a 20 right here as well, sector mark. We'll just do the 10 or 11 so you can get a real quick look at it. And just do the main sectors and we'll drop them on a 5. And I also just throw the stocks in here just because. But it shows you exactly where you're at in just semis, right? Then it's XLK. 45% of that XLK, just so you know, is Apple, Microsoft. XLC, think Google, Netflix, which just crushed. Google, Netflix, and Meta were the top 3. Charter's in there too, but that's where you want to focus. Look how cloud's coming up, but It's underperforming the S&P, so you want to watch that. And then it shows you where regionals are in relation to the whole thing. So that's definitely you want to pay attention to. Watch this because this is going to be pretty neat. What I did during the day, so I live trade every morning with the community. And they do get to hear my singing voice, which a lot of them probably wish that they didn't get to hear. But you know what? You can't always. Sometimes you get what you need. You can tell me what song that's. So there's AMD, there's SMCI, there's NVIDIA, there's AVG. So we're trading this morning, or I'm live trading this morning. The first thing I do, I'll drop this to a 1. I put them all in during the day when you're watching this, right? And I can actually go back and replay this. We can see when it started. And here, I'll show you. And I'll put this up as a 10. Let me slide this over so we can watch it. And you'll just see how the day plays out, right? See how it starts? All right. So it was right around here, like 10 o'clock. We're starting to talk this. We're watching semis. We're watching how they fell apart and how they started to rally and bounce back, right? They're just flushing people out. Around this time, we're trading. I think that AMD is outperforming. It was right around here. I think AMD is outperforming. And then out of nowhere, SMCI starts moving. Well, that becomes a game changer for me. And what this does is that allows us to start putting on some SMCI trades, right? We weren't going to do that. I was going to look at putting on some AMD trades, which I did do, and then just realized that I was wrong and I was on the wrong spot. So what this does allow me to do is it does allow me to refocus my spot, because why do I want to trade the least out of that group? I want to trade where's the money going, right? That's your goal. Where's the money going? Why do you care where the money's going? You care where the money's going. Here's your gap fill. You care where the money's going for one major reason. That's where you're going to get your momentum. Right? So I just want to show you this because I think that this is pertinent. So we start out the day and they knock everything down. Right here's 417 on SMCI, and they're just trying to shake the tree. We call it shake the tree in the community. They're just trying to steal from retail. Remember, retail trades in the morning. You might want to watch that part of the clip again. Who buys at the end of the day? Where's SMCI right now? Versus where some poor guy sold it at like 417. That's where we added for the first time. And you can see that we're trimming it. You can see the DHI. So you can look at the timestamps. I think it's important to actually show timestamps. So you can see, so here's Nail sold 60% when we're down 2.5. And then that ad, we made $6, and we're playing with Save, some other names in here, Mara puts, some other stuff, but where is it? So right here, we're looking at that screen that I just showed you. And this is where we say SMCI is strongest, AMD is second. And I wasn't aware of that. So you flip the open, I bought AMD, I trimmed it into the spike, and then we wound up blowing it out. I added to the video because of what we saw, but as time went on, what I did again was add to SMCI again once SOX flipped the open. Okay, that allowed us to get to where we wanted to do. And then this is just an area so they could rewatch what they wanted to rewatch. And it just shows that, I think it will go. It bought more SMCI. We already had calls in it. I bought a bunch of calls again of the 450s. I think we paid 11, they closed at 18, and then they're up after hours, and then we bought the 460s, and they're up after hours as well. Trimmed, I sold some at 13.50. I'm always pulling money out like that. Anyway, I think it's important for me to show you that stuff so you can understand how to utilize what I'm showing. In this video, we're obviously going into some things that are pretty deep, but these are concepts that you might want to watch again, because if you can do these concepts yourself, you can kill it. Seriously, you can absolutely kill it because you have limited capital, right? The majority of people that watch these videos do not have unlimited capital to trade. So you need to know that you're putting your capital not in a good idea. No, you want to put your capital in the best idea. Relative scans are the easiest way to do that. So real quick, I'm just going to show this while I have it sitting here because I think that this is really important. Just be aware, I'm just going to point this out because I think that it's just pertinent. Obviously, at Netflix tonight, we're going to go through that. ISRG crushed. We're going to talk about that for a second. But this ASML you want to pay attention to. Okay, you're going to want to watch this. By the time you come in tomorrow morning, that's already going to come out with earnings. So just be aware of that. But we want to just go through what the heck happened after hours. And I think that this is pretty pertinent. So we're going to show the extended trade and you can watch this. Now, for people that are newer, you will already be aware that after hours, the easiest thing to do is just drop a VWAP on it and drop it to a 1-minute chart. You're going to have your nonsense trades. But look what happened. This is why it's so important to use anchored VWAP after hours. People never do this. It's such an easy little hack, or people will say trick and then they'll make like a little video on it. Look at my little secret. It's not a secret. Basically, just want to know where the players are after hours. VWAP tells you that. Breaks down, plays around there, boom, flips. I don't know. Maybe that's a good spot to put an entry on after hours. Maybe not up here. Maybe this is where you would want to take a look at it, right? Something to think about. But why did Netflix do what it did? Well, there's a couple reasons. First and foremost, they are now with the WWE for, I believe, 10 years. And now they have that kind of content, which is great. But you see the sales beat, but EPS missed because of the amount of money that they're spending. And look what they're doing. 13.12 net paid subscribers. Look, expectations were so low and they crushed it. Right? Expectations were low and they crushed it. Stock will go up tomorrow. You're going to see analysts raise expectations. They're going to just say, hey, by the way, we're hiking prices. Either pay or you're done. By the time we're done, this is going to be greater than a cable bill with all the little things and add-ons that we have, right? And then Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, I guess he's getting a trademark. Good for him. But at the end of the day, right, they beat the miss that no one cares about. They're looking at the subscriber growth and they're looking at the price hike. And that's what they want to focus on. You kind of think that they probably had to write a check to get WWE for 10 years. So they're going to be spending money on the net income side, right? And now what you're looking at here with Netflix after hours, I think we got up to that 535 level, something along those lines. And when you come out here and you take a look at that, that's fine. And really when you just say, okay, well, where's that going to put us? Right? So you're going to be right around that 535, 538, let's say 540 level. If you can gap fill, get up in here, get to 546. That might be the first issue that you're going to have. And then as you walk your way up, right, you can see your little spot right here and there. You might want to watch that 568 tomorrow. Can it get there? Yeah, it was a decent quarter. Yeah, it was a really decent quarter. It can absolutely get there. I don't see why, candidly, why it couldn't get there. And I think that's pretty important, quite frankly. And I think it's something that's worth paying attention to. The second one we'll go over, but I do want to just talk about ISRG really quickly. But I want to go through Rumble because I think what they're doing is important. So ISRG pre-announced, they beat the pre-announcement. They pre-announced and then they beat the pre-announcement. All right, so that's when you're seeing this tomorrow morning and you're wondering why this thing's rocking and rolling. They pre-announced and it looked flat, and then they raised guidance again, and it doesn't look flat anymore. It went up $20 within 5 minutes. That's why it's so important to read these things and listen to the conference calls, because there's, the devil's in the details. But this thing's going to be a beast tomorrow, at least off the open. I don't see anything that, where are you going? I mean, look at this. It's going to be an absolute beast tomorrow. Blue skies above, definitely something to pay attention to. Rumble. This is really important, guys. It's not just the Portnoy stuff that's interesting. Here, take a look at this. Video went a little bit longer than I wanted to, but I think that was an important comment about how I sorted, how they take the loss. And I also think it was important for you guys to be able to look at how I do a couple of these trades so that you can do them yourselves. You can comment below if you think that was helpful, if you think it wasn't helpful. Your comments are how I create content. So if you want to see more of that stuff when I read the comments, and it does make me act on the content. So best in class, all-in-one live streaming product to all creators for all platforms. Let me say it again. Rumbles offers best-in-class, all-in-one live streaming product to all creators and for all platforms. Picture being able to go to one place where one platform is going to allow you to stream, okay, as somebody, I guess I'm not going to call myself an influencer because that's just weird, but I've been called a YouTuber. But I can tell you that trying to stream to all these different places, and I use StreamYard, it's easy, but it's still a pain. They're going to let you do it through Rumble, through their site. Creators are going to go here. I'm just telling you right now, creators are going to go there. That might not be their main platform, but if Rumble somehow is going to be able to get you to do this through YouTube and through everybody else, everybody's going to do this. And you're going to go there. I'm just speaking as somebody that does this, you're going to do this because you're going to be able to get there. And you're going to be able to broadcast it all from one spot and not have to utilize everything. And then on top of that, they're going to pay people. I think it's really big. I think this could be a game changer for them. We'll watch how the stock goes. I do have a position in the company, just FYI. Rumble, the high growth video platform cloud services, announced today the public launch of its new live streaming tool, Rumble Studio. The product is now available to all Rumble users. You think people are going to become Rumble users? The all-in-one tool for creators simplifies live streaming experience to Rumble creators, allows them to easily stream video to multiple platforms, invite guests, engage with their audience, like I did today to the poor people that had to listen to the pre-market live music through the entire thing. I am very sorry, and I'll figure out what we're going to do about that. I'm going to make it up to everybody. In addition, creators can access powerful video enhancement tools. That's exciting. Integration across Rumble's ecosystem. Easy to use integrations. So you're going to put your stuff on Rumble. It's going to go to YouTube, Twitch, X, Facebook. In addition, users can stream to platforms like Kick. Rumble Studios not all live stream platforms, no cost to the creator. Okay, so are you going to do this, or are you going to go pay $50 like I do, or $100 to StreamYard? right? They just crush those businesses, by the way. Rumble Studios not only offers live streaming to all platforms at no cost to the creator, but revolutionizes live streaming. I like to be revolutionized. With this one-of-a-kind feature, I've never been more personally excited. All right, well, let's see how it goes. Imagine a world where the advertisers bidding, where creators fully endorse and tell their audience to buy your product on an automated and in real time. I'm not going to do that, but I get it. After a period in beta, we're excited to take the step to best-in-class live streaming experience. So this is kind of cool, and I think that this is going to be a big thing. I think this is going to be bigger than people think it is, because I can tell you that if there's a way that I can just load this in and you put it out everywhere, your content is, and I guarantee part of this is your content must be on Rumble, then it's going to drive Rumble's revenue. There's literally no way that it's not. If you take a look at it, and we'll just go finish here, you can see how the 12, the 22, and the 55 are all down here. But look at this. I mean, look at the volume. Okay, as people start really understanding what this is doing, I think people are going to get this. And yeah, did it have a huge move? Can it come back? Yes. I don't know if tomorrow is the day where you have to get really involved, but I would be paying attention to this name, and I think that this could be something of significance. That's it.